Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So it seems the first person to be actually kicked out of Australia, out of the country, and not competing in the Australian Open tennis competition this year is Czech player Renata Voráčová, and she also apparently came in on the same visa that Novak Djokovic did. Now, this whole debacle has caused a lot of the blame game to go around from the federal, state, and Tennis Australia, all blaming each other. But let's take a look at Sky News and see what they say about Renata Voráčová. So on skynews.com.au, Renata Voráčová to leave Australia after having visa revoked. The second Australian Open tennis star, Renata Voráčová, detained in a Melbourne hotel where Novak Djokovic is being held, has revealed she's leaving Australia after having her visa revoked. Ms. Voráčová entered Australia last month with the same vaccine exemption as Djokovic. The Embassy of the Czech Republic in Canberra has now confirmed the 38-year-old has decided to leave Australia at the earliest possible date and will not be attending the tennis tournament in Melbourne. The Czech Embassy has contacted the Australian Department of Home Affairs requesting an explanation of the situation and are awaiting a response. In regards to the Home Affairs Department, well, this came out on 2GB, one of the radio stations, and it says they're investigating reports unvaccinated tennis players have already entered the country. And then here's the quote, "It may well be that everyone who is coming to the country has the correct documentation." Well, it seems that that's not the case because this other tennis player, Voráčová, is now going to be leaving the country because they were on the same visa that Novak Djokovic was, which the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, also spoke about in a press conference that I have in another video. He spoke about the letter that was detailed in November between Tennis Australia and the government. Now, let's take a look at that letter. So the key part here was the Australian Border Force has advised that people must be fully vaccinated as defined by the ATAGI to gain quarantine-free entry into Australia. This means that people who do not meet the ATAGI's definition of fully vaccinated will not be approved for quarantine-free entry, regardless of whether they've received foreign vaccination exemptions. Because in Europe, just like Czech Republic, it's also Europe, so this Voráčová must have also thought that the European exemption applied, maybe potentially if she's had COVID in the last 6 months, because the European exemption is if you've had COVID in the last 6 months, that counts as much as being double vaccinated. So obviously, they lodged the paperwork with Tennis Australia. They thought this clause may have worked in their favor and given them that exemption, but clearly not, because it says, in relation to your specific questions, I can confirm that people who contracted COVID-19 within the past 6 months and seek to enter Australia from overseas and have not received 2 doses of a TGA approved or recognized vaccine are not considered fully vaccinated. So if you don't have the shots, you can't come in. So on the ABC here, it says, a female tennis player from the Czech Republic is among 3 people connected to the Australian Open to have their visas cancelled. The ABC can reveal Renata Voráčová, who has already played in a warm-up tournament in Melbourne, is being detained in the same immigration hotel as Novak Djokovic. So she's already played matches in a warm-up tournament. So I don't know how she got in, and apparently there might be some more athletes and trainers as well that have come in on this exemption. But I don't know how they've got in, but Novak Djokovic does the same thing and he says, I've got my medical exemption and I'm coming. And then he gets here and then all of this stuff comes out about, oh, there's a letter that says anyone who isn't fully vaccinated can't come in. So how does that work with these players that have already come in? Very interesting. I would like to know how they got in. They confirm it here too. Voráčová is believed to have entered Australia last month with a vaccine exemption granted by Tennis Australia because she had recently contracted and recovered from COVID-19. She would have thought that she had that exemption from the European standard that says if you've had COVID in the past 6 months, it counts as fully vaxxed, but not here. So how did she get in on that exemption that Tennis Australia apparently gave her? But there's a letter from November from the government to Tennis Australia saying if they're not fully vaccinated, they can't come in. How did she get in? Or how did she get an exemption to come in? And why is it now that Novak Djokovic has sparked this? Was it just because of his Instagram post, his Twitter post as well, saying, I'm on my way? Is it only because he's been vocal and speaking out about vaccines and his hesitancy towards them? Is that the reason why it's all come to the head now? Because we haven't heard anything about other players being anti-vax, just him. And now it comes to him. We found this letter that says you can't come in, but you've also got other players that are already unvaccinated in here. Oh yeah, let's get them and kick them out now because we messed up. The Australian government making themselves look like fools, trying to pass the blame and leaving it till the last minute before the tournament and having superstar Novak Djokovic come in and apparently an anti-vaxxer, and now they want to kick into gear and say, no, you can't come in. Well, now one of the other players, Voráčová, has been deported and chosen to leave the country because she had an exemption, but now they've revoked that exemption and now she's on her way home. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, share this video out there, and I'll see you in the next one.